So I just watched When You See Me Now You Will. Don't you see don't you see me now you do. Now you see me now you don't. And yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, it's not mind-blowing, it's not life-changing, but it's fun. And honestly, that's just what this franchise needed to be. It didn't be no over-the-top Avengers level threat of a film. And this one kind of looks the franchise in the mirror and it says, "All right, we're older now. We need to pass the torch. So let's have some fun before we disappear again." The one thing I'll give this movie a lot of credit for is that it leans way more into practical magic again. And I love that. I'm not a big magic guy, but the first movie had this raw, grounded, almost like street magic feel to it. And the second movie, let's be honest, sometimes it felt like you're just watching like Marvel characters, like Doctor Strange, just do like a spell, and you just gotta accept it because they're magicians. And it was all CGI. Well, not all of it, but most of it. But this third film really brings it back to the roots of that first film. You can see real sleight of hand and you can feel the physicality of the tricks. And even whenever it gets flashy, it doesn't do and drown you in a bunch of CGI like Now You See Me 2 did. And that alone makes this movie feel more, I don't know, honest? Yeah, I mean, honest is a good word for it. That's not to say that the second one wasn't, but it just felt so much pressure at the time from all these movies being huge spectacles, superhero movies. Oh my goodness. Now You See Me 2 coming out in the middle of it. So they felt like they needed a huge spectacle. And not to say anything bad about the second movie, I love that scene where they were tossing the card around inside of that like super secure vault thing. That was amazing. So I'm not knocking it. But this one just kind of does what the first one did. Maybe not as good, but it does it well. And the other best part of this movie is that we get to see the original cast. And I'm talking about everyone. We got to see Jesse Eisenberg, Woody Harrelson, Dave Franco, Isla Fisher, and what was her name? Lula from the second movie. Where the second movie we're missing Isla Fisher, but she kind of comes back in, and it feels like when you see old coworkers at the office like start to talk again. But the movie also brings in some new horsemen, and that's where things get interesting. The passing of the torch. It's a little on the nose, but it's not bad, and it's actually pretty good. And it's not a spoiler, so we're not getting to spoilers yet, but we're gonna go through this. That the movie is very clear that this is a passing of the torch story. I mean, like very clear, sometimes a little too clear, because there are a few moments where the new cast kind of challenges the OGs and they just kind of one up them. And I mean, I get it. They need to prove themselves so that you as the audience can see that they're the real deal. But I feel it could have been done a little better because we still love the original cast. So it's kind of like the movie's tapping you on the shoulder saying, hey, these are the new ones. You like them. Like, you need to like these guys because they're the new ones. But honestly, for the most part, they're fun, they're charismatic, and they don't act like carbon copies of the original. They kind of do their own thing. And the chemistry between the new horsemen works pretty well. And by the end of the movie, you're kind of thinking, yeah, all right, I can roll with these guys. I mean, it's not perfect, and I've seen a lot worse passing of the torch attempts, but this one is very well done. Although sometimes their dialogue was a little corny, a little cheesy, but overall, it was pretty cool. It was nice to see. It was refreshing. Now, a little issue that I had with this movie, and we're still not in spoiler territory, is you remember that iconic card passing scene in Now You See Me Too that I mentioned a little earlier? When the one where the horsemen are tossing the card around the vault like they're playing NBA street ball. I mean, they tried to recreate that same energy here, and it didn't land quite the same. It felt forced. It felt a little staged. Like the movie itself knew it was referencing something iconic, but didn't fully know how to top it. But and here's the important part. It was still fun. It was still well done, and the sequence itself was also very well shot. The moves between them was clean, and it was very creative. But it just didn't hit with the same shock factor because we've already seen that in a way, and the way that they led into, the new iconic magic sequence wasn't very well done. Like the previous one, where they were kind of forced into that, and it played along well as part of the film. In this film, it felt like it was forced in because they wanted to do something like that again. So you still clap, but the first time was better. Now the humor was corny, but it was kind of charming. I mean, some of the jokes were corny, like there's no way around that. Some of the dialogue, it was a little cheesy. There's nothing, no way around that either. But honestly, it's a movie about magic, and if you've ever been to a magic show, you know that they use a lot of cliche phrases and sayings, and corny's kind of part of the DNA. I mean, it's a show at the end of the day, and you don't really care because it's not trying to be the most vocabulary effective movie or dialogue friendly film. It's just always in between that sweet spot between crime thriller and Vegas stage show with the plot. The humor doesn't always land, but it does fit the tone of the film in this particular instance. It was well. So I did look around online to see what the critics are saying, what they had to say, and the general vibe from people that I'm seeing is that the best parts of the film is that this is the best reviewed film in the franchise so far. People like the more practical effects and less CGI, like I did too. People are saying that it's fun to watch. I also thought the same. And the original cast and the new cast blended very well. I think very well is a little overstatement, but it was good. And, you know, Now You See Me films would not be Now You See Me films without a plot twist at the end. So we're going to jump into spoilers here in 30 seconds because I'm going to say what I didn't really like about the movie. So this is your spoiler warning. Like 3, 2, 1, spoilers are coming. So what's not so good is that the plot feels familiar. It feels a little crowded because there's so many characters, and magic tricks sometimes feel flashy without the emotional payoff. The dialogue can get a little cheesy, like I mentioned before, and it's not as impactful as the first film. Whenever they took off or unalived Thaddeus Bradley, which is like the Horseman guy that he's in charge of it all, and he has been for the last 2 movies or so, I feel like it was very underwhelming. Could have done something else with the character, and the way that it was done feels like it was kind of left open-ended on purpose so that they could possibly bring him back in some crazy twist in a future movie. I mean, the movie isn't trying to reinvent the wheel, I guess. It's trying to be enjoyable. It kind of sucks because a character so well written like Thaddeus Bradley to just kind of be gone, and you don't really feel the emotional impact of him being gone because it kind of like the movie just needs to move on. And I get it, not every character needs to have some grand finale bye, but in this case, it felt a little empty. And most of the movie, in those terms, felt like it was just a transitional movie, not really its own standalone. But with that being said, I think that in the future, we will look back on this movie as being a great origin story for our new trio of horsemen that originally weren't even part of the Eye, but they kind of invented it that they were, and they made everything up as they went. And that's okay, you know. Not every movie needs to be the next Oppenheimer or the next Dune 2 and Infinity War Endgame. Sometimes you just want something that's fun to throw on that doesn't ask too much of you other than have a good time. And we have some other more content for you to watch. So the Cinematic Rush final verdict is Now You See Me, Now You Don't. It's like watching your favorite magician perform a trick you've already seen with some changes. You know how it works, kind of. You know where the rabbit is. You know when the smoke is coming, but you're still smiling, you're still entertained, and there's a new twist to it. So, you know, oh wow, you still enjoy it. The movie is fun overall, not groundbreaking in any way, not perfect. So, if you love the first movie, did you like this one? Did you think the second one wasn't on track with the first and third, or are you a huge fan of the second one? I don't know. Let me know what you think. And if you like movie reviews, if you like to talk about films and movies, you're a movie nerd like me, consider subscribing and hitting that like button, and let me know in the comments what you thought about this movie and other movies that you want to talk about in the future. See y'all later. Bye.